In terms of hobbies, I had a lot of hobbies that eventually just started dropping over the time. Like for example, a couple of years back I started doing horseback riding, and then I fell and broke my ankle, so that ended. I also used to do some glass work and glass jewelry and cutting and whatnot, but then I had a kid, so you don't want glass everywhere. I also used to do some like silver jewelry because I started studying my original degree. I'm a Bachelor of Industrial Design. I went in exchange to New Zealand, had some jewelry courses and whatnot, so I started working with silver. So making some earrings and pendants and whatnot, but that also requires like a huge big torch and flames, and having a cat and flames does not match very well. Some hobbies have come and go over time. You still have a lot of like inclination that maybe one day I'll retake it, but always games has been there. Like it's the one that is always there with you through all the stages of life. I mean, in terms of games, there's a lot of games and a lot of stages of my life that I can say like, hey, okay, when I was this age, I was playing this kind of games, and when I was this age, I was playing this kind of game. But when I was a kid, one of the like strongest memories that I have is we were playing with my mother when the Nintendo came out, and we were playing the first Mario, and then she would die very quickly, and my brothers and I wouldn't. So she figured that if she presses the pause in the middle of a jump on a cliff, then when you remove the pause, you fall straight down. So she would do that to us so that we would die and her turn would come a bit more often. Also another game that I remember a lot from the series of Mana, the Legend of Mana. It was one of the first times that the game gave me the option you can play as a boy or as a girl. And I was like, oh my god, like games are for me, you know. And it was back then, I don't know, I was very young, but it was like, in that game, it was just visuals. There was nothing else in functionality or in story. It was just the visual of your main character moving around the world. That is a girl. That's it. But to me, that meant a lot. And there were many games also where you started to have choices. You can do this or you can do that. And the story effects, like for example the Chrono Trigger, also kind of like, oh, depending on the choices that you do like this in the trial, or the ending is like this, and there's like 20 different endings, etc. So like those kind of things always intrigue me so much. Later on in life, I came to live in Finland, and it was very difficult for me to find work as an industrial designer because I didn't have any contacts, I didn't speak the language or anything, so I was like trying to figure out what to do, and that's when I heard like, oh, there's this like Finnish game industry, like, what, you get paid to make games? Like, can I do that? And yeah, someone said like, yeah, there's some courses in the ammattikorkeakoulu, the school, that you can have some game design courses. And immediately I started looking for where I could get these courses, and then I enrolled to a new bachelor. Like, I can have 2 bachelors, that's fine. So I applied to the school, I got the spot, and then I went straight into that minor of game design, and that's when I started in the industry. I didn't even know where I would fit in terms of my skills or what I could do. I knew that there were 3 different ways of getting into the industry: as an artist, as a programmer, or like, for example, in support, QA, etc. And then I saw, well, player support can be my entryway. And then right about there, I started following all these social media platforms and Play Finland and whatnot. And Traplight posted like, hey, we're looking for someone for customer service, so player support, who speaks Spanish. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can do that. Previously I had worked in a bank, I had sold cars, I had done a lot of customer service related jobs. So I was like, hey, I can do that. And then I started seeing the job description. It was kind of like, okay, check, yes, check, check, check. I could do this. I could apply. I could even get it. Yeah, and I got an interview. I met the people. We were all very happy. I started as a trainee. Really like what was going on, and of course I was just so eager about learning about everything related. So I really like that, for example, now working at Playsome here in Helsinki, there's a lot of things that I can do because we're such a small company that you can wear all these hats and you can do this and that, and as long as you're always doing things that are good for the game and good for the players that we have and that we will have in the future, it's a great way to pool. So I like a lot about the diversity of options that you have to do in the industry, like all the things you can do. In terms of tips, I would tell people to get involved as much as they can. Try to find events, try to approach IGDA, maybe volunteer, go to game jams, try to get as much of an idea of what it is actually, like in reality, than what you might think it is.